One of the most exciting games of the weekend had to have been the outcome for Colorado State. Many expected this game to be a blowout. This was supposed to be a blowout. On paper, it made sense to be a blowout. But when you have these rivalry type games, crazy things can happen. Colorado State scratched and clawed the entirety of this thing, and they kept it close. They even held a lead for most of it. Colorado, though, with Shedeur Sanders playing quarterback for them, even without Travis Hunter, can do some pretty miraculous things. I'm all in on him as a 2024 NFL draft prospect. His projection and where he can go, I haven't watched enough of him in terms of breaking down the film to give that exactly, but if he continues to play the way that he did, I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't finish as a first-round pick. And his performance continues to show up as Heisman caliber performances. But we need to start being real with ourselves as next week when they're facing Oregon, that their roster is not going to be built to compete with the top teams in the Pac-12 just yet. I have a ton of faith that Deion Sanders is going to eventually continue to develop this roster, continue to go to the portal to get the offensive and defensive linemen, the linebackers, the type of depth that they need to be in that top conversation in the Big 12 once they make that transition. And in the Big 12, on top of that, the Big 12 is going to be wide open. They could step right in and immediately win the conference. There is a huge, huge possibility for that to happen in 2024. But in 2023, when they have to play teams like Oregon next week and the rest of the year, those weaknesses are starting to show up. I watched the All-22 footage of the Nebraska game, and that was a really good performance for Colorado. But I started to see some of the issues that could pop up for them later in the season and that were exposed and attacked by Colorado State. The biggest is their offensive line. And the stat that I could pull up is against Colorado State, they only rushed for 70 yards and 2.8 yards per carry. They are just not producing the rushing plays to control the tempo of games the way that they could be doing so. It's just difficult to rebuild an offensive line in one season the way that Coach Prime was able to do at other positions. There's just not that many available offensive linemen to do it that quickly. And if you watch the film, if you watch them play, they allow so many pressures against just simple four-man rushes. But where things start to get really scary is if teams send a lot of pressure, they just don't have the group that's going to lock down and keep that pressure out of Shedeur Sanders' face. What does help them is that Shedeur Sanders is one of the most composed quarterbacks in the country. He kind of reminds me of Bryce Young in a way, the way that he plays, where he's got guys chasing after him. He's got pressure in his face. He still delivers the ball where it needs to go. They're going to win games. They're going to continue to be a really competitive team this year because Shedeur Sanders is that good and the receivers are that good. Dylan Edwards is that good. And once Travis Hunter is back and healthy, he is that dynamic of an athlete that they're going to continue to produce those splash plays. But as the losses are going to start coming, they weren't going to go 12-0. Like that's where I think with this whole thing, it was an exciting story, but there were some folks that want to act like this was somehow going to be a historic, crazy run for Colorado in 2023. That wasn't going to happen. And we're starting to see that with the way that they played against Colorado State. That offensive line is not built well enough to go up against Washington, Oregon, USC, the top teams in the conference. Again, I think that team is going to be really good this year. They're going to continue to be really, really good, but some of those roster issues are likely going to hold them back. I really want to talk about, though, just a quick pivot here on Colorado State. Man, I was just in awe of the performance of two guys in particular. Mo Camara, by the way, separate from their offensive weapons, from New Jersey guy, from Newark, New Jersey. Hell of a game that he played. He took advantage of just one-on-one situations, busting his ass, getting after the quarterback, getting after in the run game. He played a hell of a game. It sucks that he goes out with the targeting call at the end of the game. But Tory Horton, I'm excited to really dive into his film as a 2024 NFL draft prospect. I didn't know what to expect, but when you have a game like this on the national spotlight level and everyone gets to see who you are, the body control, the route running, the hands, the concentration. This guy is so well-rounded. Louis Riddick was talking about it the whole game. that Tory Horton can do anything at the receiver position. He can play any spot. I wouldn't be shocked that this isn't, at the very least, a top 100 prospect. Maybe he's even in that conversation as a top 50 guy. I really have to dive into that film. But what I saw in that game, I saw some really amazing, exciting stuff from him. He's got the build to just be a go-to X receiver in the NFL, or just a very highly productive one. And then their tight end, Dallin Holker. Man, that guy really burst onto the scene. He's another one who, I knew who Horton was coming into the game. I had no idea who Holker was. And Jim Nagy, who's the Senior Bowl, who runs the Senior Bowl, even tweeted out that his name's going up on their board. He's going up on their big board for the Senior Bowl for consideration for it, because no one knew who this guy was. He gets the opportunity to shine against the most talked about team in the country. And that long touchdown reception he had, man, the acceleration, just the pure strength that he showed on that play, I think is fantastic. I give a lot of credit to Colorado State for the way that they fought in this game. And I'm sure that they're going to be pretty good in the Mountain West this year. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Bet Online for all of your sports betting needs. For anything that I do betting related, I go on over to betonline.ag and I use promo code BELIEVE50. BetOnline has all of the latest updated odds for the NFL and college football seasons. Anything you need, whether it's futures, live in-game betting, no matter what, your football betting needs are met at BetOnline. And again, make sure you use that promo code BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.